The International Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation, or International IPMSDL, sends our warmest greetings to the peoples of the Cordillera in time for the 30th celebration of Cordillera Day. We remember martyrdom of Macliing Dulag, beloved son of Kalinga, and other Cordillera heroes who are staunch defenders of ancestral lands. Their heroism is an inspiration and a call to action for all Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples to carry on with our struggles against exploitation, plunder, and state violence. To this day, 42 years after the murder of Macliing Dulag, varying forms of attacks are still waged against the Cordillera peoples. Environmental destruction, plunder of ancestral lands, projects like the Apayao Dams, hydropower projects in different parts of the region, and mining activities plague the Cordillera. Farmers in the region face issues of vegetable smuggling, the liberalization of agriculture, and state-sponsored policies that kill the livelihood of Cordillera peoples while favoring the interests of the wealthy few. Historically, past administrations have not only neglected indigenous peoples but were deliberately targeted by various counterinsurgency programs. Fascist attacks are launched against activists and progressives for their firm stance against the encroachment of businesses and the so-called development projects into ancestral lands to extract profits from the resource-rich indigenous territories for the benefit of a few and at the cost of people's collective rights, health, lives, and the planet. The plight of indigenous peoples worsened under Duterte as killings, harassment, and arbitrary arrest of land and environmental defenders have become the legal mandate of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. The indigenous peoples and human rights defenders of the Cordillera are well versed in this, having experienced state tyranny in its many forms. Leaders, elders, and youth members of indigenous peoples' movements and progressive organizations in the region who are vocal critics of indigenous peoples and human rights atrocities are tagged as terrorists and enemies of the state. State perpetrated violence is even more rampant as the presidential elections draw near. We are in a crucial period as it is not only that it, we are in a crucial period as it is not only the Dutertes who are scheming to maintain their position of political power, they are joined by the Marcoses who have unpaid debts to the Cordillera peoples and the entire Filipino nation. Their debt is not only the stolen public wealth and unpaid taxes, but the countless lives lost during the martial law, one of the darkest periods of the Cordillera and Philippine history. In this day, as we celebrate Cordillera Day, let us affirm the essence of Cordillera Day as a celebration of the people's historical resistance against plunder and fascism under the Marcos administration. Today, we reaffirm the resistance by continuing the fight for our self-determined future. Let us strengthen and broaden our anti-colonial and anti-imperialist solidarity and identify the common enemies of indigenous peoples worldwide. Only through our solidarity can we end the roots of our oppression, the plunder of our lands, and the murder of indigenous peoples worldwide. Let our celebrations and commemorative activities be venues of our just descent. Let our solidarity spread across the Philippine Islands and around the globe and echo our collective calls for land, human rights, and self-determination. This is a fight for our future. Long live the peoples of the Cordillera. Long live the peoples of the Cordillera. Long live Macliing Dulag. Long live the Cordillera heroes. Onwards with the struggle for self-determination and liberation.